Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about the absolutely fantastic film, um, One Battle After Another. So 5 out of 5 star movie. I want to talk about this under the banner of American politics. Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about this under the banner of American religion. I'm going to talk about American religion in this, and there are going to be spoilers for One Battle After Another. All right, let's go. All right. So I was very interested in this movie, especially after I watched Grace Randolph's review, non-spoiler review, and she's like, "This is a highly political film." Now, of course, I love American politics, and I was really curious what their message was. But one of the things, so this is a very traditional, straightforward um, Hollywood film, right? So right there, and that had, and the reason why I make that distinction is I'm an evangelical Christian, right? And so evangelical Christians have a weird take on Hollywood films. So one, I'm very unusual within the evangelical Christian community. Most evangelical Christians kind of side eye any Hollywood production. They're like, well, but they end up watching them, and the reason why is, what are you gonna do? You're gonna watch an angel entertainment film, like poorly shot, poorly cast. Like you can guess what the script is before you even hear it. Like they're not good, right? Like, and this is another thing. Right-leaning people are not good artists. Like, they don't tell any right-leaning child, kid who says, "Hey, mom and dad, I'm going to go to NYU to study film." They're like, "Hey, are you kidding? Go get an excellent economics degree." They're like, the right complains about left controlling Hollywood, but it's their own fault. Like, they don't grow any artists. Like, there are no artist Republicans. It doesn't work that way, right? So I love Hollywood movies, and I go into a Hollywood movie understanding that their depiction of true Christianity is always going to be incredibly slanted, right? Because generally, well, actually, Hollywood has only two takes on Christianity. They either massively misunderstand it, or they understand it and they hate it. I will say this though. I go into Hollywood movies knowing this. I'm not going to go into a Hollywood movie and go, "Oh my gosh, they got the depiction of evangelical Christians completely wrong. How dare they?" I've been watching these my whole life. I already know that they're going to do that. And I do get frustrated when my brothers and sisters in Christ are like, "Oh, I watched that movie and I just got they got the depiction of evangelicals completely wrong. How dare they?" I'm like, man, come on. Like, stuff it. Like, either go just watch your angel entertainment movies and then grump because they suck, or watch Hollywood understanding that Hollywood is never going to get us right. They're never going to give us a fair shake, right? So now there is talk that might be changing, because one of the things is the left is losing on every front right now, and one of them is the commercial, right? Like, even Disney, they've been able to get away with outrageously liberal content for decades, but right now there doesn't seem to be a lot of money in it, right? And so there is a chance that things could start changing. But I just wanted to make the point there that I'm not one of these evangelicals who goes to Hollywood movies and then whines about it, right? You knew what was going to be in there, right? So I try to have an understanding of that. So what was interesting was how they depicted evangelical Christians in this film. Okay, so one, the first thing they did, right? This is a Hollywood movie, so it's going to be outrageously left slanted, right? So the first thing they did was, who are the enemies of Leonardo DiCaprio and Tiana Taylor and Chase Infinity and Regina Hall? Who are their enemies? Well, they are prejudiced white power advocates, right? And they do not associate them with the hooded guys, but it's and one of the reasons why is everybody's like, the hooded guys they're not, those guys are still around, but that organization's been broken up and split and shunted into 15 splinter groups, and they all have new names, right? Like that hooded Southern group, that isn't a thing anymore. Like, they don't have any real power. They're done, right? So what they replaced them with in this movie was the Christmas Adventurers. And And actually, this was very interesting. I thought this was an interesting take on hyper prejudice, hate mongering, white power advocates, right? And people who are like blood purity, you know, what white purity and white power, and you know, and only the white man and the white woman are good people, and everybody else is, you know, and just horrible, you know, hate mongery, hyper prejudice beliefs, right? Now, first of all, this movie actually depicted this group very well overall. In fact, I was really impressed with how they did it. So one, they did not portray them as stupid. Right? You get that a lot in Hollywood. They're like, oh, you know, you get this. I'm amazed. Like, I really believe the left is massively responsible for the power of Donald Trump. And one of the reasons why was for a long time they were like, Donald Trump's an idiot. They would just say it over and over again. They'd be like, oh, he's an idiot. He's just a ridiculous fool. What an idiot. He's just an idiot, right? Well, the problem is, okay, if he's an idiot, first of all, why did he beat your candidate in 2016? And why was he able to get a lot of things done in his first 4 years? And the biggest thing is, Trump gets away with so much because the left truly believe he's stupid, right? But he is not. He's extremely intelligent, and he absolutely is now and always has been a billionaire. He's been a billion. They spout ridiculous lies about him, that he's stupid, that he doesn't have billions of dollars, that he's powerless, that he's, you know, they just say all these there's lots of things you could say about him that are true. None of those are true, right? He's been a billionaire. He owned more property. Like, if you just watch the movies that the left makes, okay? They made The Apprentice. That movie established that he owned more New York real estate than anyone in the 90s. You can't do that without billions of dollars, right? Like, you have to have billions of dollars. So he's always been a billionaire, and he's always been hecka smart. He is really smart, right? And in this movie, they actually portrayed these, you know, hate-mongering, hyper-prejudice, white power advocates, the Christmas adventurers, as very smart and very dangerous, right? And very white, like, yeah, mayo in the no spice in their egg salad, right? Like, just, yeah. Whew, no paprika, right? It's just mayo in the egg salad. It's just like, yeah. So they definitely, you know, they really did a good job. So first of all, the organization is called the Christmas Adventurers, okay? And this is important, right? Because this is absolutely spot on true. People who are hyper prejudiced are never evangelical Christians. They are Christians, and air quotes, okay? So what do I mean by this? Well, people who, you know, people are like, oh, I love Christmas. I just love Christmas. You know, like, yeah, why? Well, the gifts and the presents and old Saint Nick, right? No, this is Jesus' birthday, man. That's why we give the gifts. It is a celebration of the greatest gift ever given, which was forgiveness by Jesus Christ with his blood shed at Golgotha, right? So to say Christmas adventure right out of the gate, you're saying, yeah, these guys pose as Christians, but they're not actually Christians. And they went even further down this road, and they had all of the Christmas adventurers greet each other saying, Hail Saint Nicholas, Hail Saint Nick. Actually, it was Hail Saint Nick, Hail Saint Nick. They said it a lot, right? And what they were really saying was Hail Satan, right? Like, and you could tell, like, it was like these guys were super evil and posed as Christian because it fit their milieu, but they're not actually Christians. Actual evangelical Christians, you can't get away with hyper prejudice under the evangelical Christian banner. First of all, we are the most, you know, everybody's like, oh, I think anti-Semitism is rising. Yeah, anti-Semitism is rising. You know who's the most pro-Semitic group you're ever going to find? Try evangelical Christians. Those guys are super like, oh yeah, every single inch of Israel belongs to Israel because every Jew is God's favorite person on this world. we wish we were them. Like we have incredible respect for Jews because they are God's literal chosen people. No one on this planet was given a single inch of land except the Jews, and they were given every inch of Israel forever. Like if there is any legitimate claim to land on the planet, it is Israel for every inch of Israel, right? Like, you will not, like, I think evangelical Christians are more pro-Zion than many Jewish communities. It's like, because a lot of times if you talk to modern Jewish communities, they're like, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about pro-Zionism. I don't know about the, ask any evangelical, right? They're like, the Jews. Doesn't matter what color any evangelical Christian is. They're like, oh yeah, the Jews are better than us. Like, they're literally God's, favorite people. So first of all, like, respect for other people and respect for people beyond your own skin color is like baked in. Like, it's baked into evangelical Christianity. Also, evangelical Christians are like, well, who did Christ die for? Everybody, every single color, right? Like, no evangelical Christian on the planet actually believes in any type of prejudice. Okay, so it's yeah. All right, so I actually really appreciated that they connected them to Christmas adventure, and I appreciate that they didn't just call them Christian adventurers, right? The other thing I really appreciated was the Hail Saint Nick, because it was very clear that these guys were Satanists, right? And I do think Satanism, absolutely, especially the worship of Baphomet, is extremely common among any white power advocacy group. So I thought this was extremely well handled, and I was very impressed with as far as Christian depiction in a extremely Hollywood movie. This is about as good as we get as far as our treatment. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion, nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.